Welcome to Tips for Recording Educational Videos, and you already know me. I'm Rebecca Rosecrans from TCCSA. I'm demonstrating one of these little tips right now. If you're a Zoom user and you have the Zoom application installed on your computer, when you do a screen share, they have a new feature. It's in beta, so you have to do a screen share, click advanced, and now you can take PowerPoint slides and make them your background. So your virtual background will be that slideshow. I'm going to introduce a few slides here, and as I do, I'm going to hopefully get input from you, and we'll do some more polling to keep this interactive for you. But the big question, why? If you at least leave here with an answer to why you need to create or want to create educational videos, then hopefully that was worth it to you. The why? Well, out of necessity, right? This last school year, many teachers were thrust into recording videos, either of their computer screen or of themselves. Now, that's not necessarily the best way to approach it, but possibly that was how it happened. But there are other reasons. You can free yourself up by allowing you to be recorded or record a screen with you narrating so you can work directly with other students. Maybe they need your assistance, maybe they're advanced and you want to help them stretch their learning, but now you are free to work directly with those students. And trust. Students are more likely to watch a video when it's their teacher than any other person. It loses some of their trust, and a cookie cutter approach to your materials doesn't reach your varied learners. So they kind of, you lose some engagement. So if it's a video of you, it's more genuine and you'll get higher engagement from your students. So I'm going to ask a poll question for our live viewers, those who are recorded, watching this as a recording. I want you to think about this question. So the question is, why do you record your own videos? I had an earlier question in the very beginning of this, and the two people who were live at that point, we've had another one join us since. Both of them did say they recorded. So if you don't record videos and you can't answer this, that's okay. But why do you record your own videos? Is it out of necessity? And this is a multiple clip. You can check as many as needed. I don't like what I find out there. I can't find videos of my subject. Students prefer my recordings, or an other. And if you've marked an other, then I'll ask our live participants to explain a little bit. Hopefully they can tell us what that other reason was. So the three who are live have all answered. I'm going to end this poll, and hopefully if you're watching the recording, that gave you a little bit of time. I'm going to share the results with everybody here. And 3 out of 3 had out of necessity for remote learning. You just had to do it this last school year. And hopefully moving forward, you'll find a reason why that sticks with you going forward. But if you can't find videos of your subject, yeah, you're really stuck. You got to do it. And I am glad to see one person did comment. Students do prefer your recordings, and that is true with research. So the other, can I ask the one person who marked other to speak up?
That was me, Rebecca. I teach preschool, primarily 3 through 5-year-olds. And so their engagement with media is through their parents. And so the other for us was it allowed us to, on the days our students weren't able to meet, include the parents in the instruction by providing demonstrations and connecting them with our class pets when they couldn't see them. And so it was a very different way because we're very hands-on and nature-based. We don't tend to be technology-based where I work. This was different this year, but allowed us to pull all those together with family involvement.
All right, thank you. I'm going to move forward here and our what, the big what, because we want to have our rationale down. Plan first with your academic outcomes in mind. And what am I meaning by that? Your what? You want to give. We want to give directions. Maybe you have projects and complex tasks. You get tired of repeating yourself. Wouldn't it be so nice to just record a snippet of giving those directions? Maybe there's a process that you hate repeating over and over, and recording it once and providing that to students can alleviate that redundancy of you repeating it. To replace. Ooh, boy, the big fear, right? If I record myself, videos are going to replace me as a teacher. Big fear, right? That you have got to know after going through a year like we did this school year, that is not true, not at all. But what are you replacing? Yeah, lectures. Now, we're replacing the idea of the lecture being everybody lockstep, synchronous. We're all learning at the same rate together. So the sage on the stage concept, you can replace that with recordings of your lectures so it can be consumed at different rates. It can be reviewed, repeated, and meet more learners. And to provide. So if we're going to provide remediation, then a video would definitely do that for us. If you have a video that the aide who works with a few of your students can watch, and now that aide is better able to assist those students. Students can also, I'll show you some YouTube tips, but what they can do. But before I get away from this thought, I just wanted to quickly quote something from a new book I picked up, got it last week, Bold School by Weston Kieschnick. And it's using video strategically can help educators be so much more efficient and effective in their roles and allow students to learn and obtain skills in ways that are exciting and pertinent to 21st century competencies. So kids like learning from video. Let's meet them there. Let's work with that and use it to our advantage. So I'm going to leave this little demonstration of mine where I've been kind of glued into this PowerPoint, but that was a short demonstration. And one tip for you who are Zoom users to share a screen, and all Google Slides can be downloaded as PowerPoints. As long as you have PowerPoint installed on your computer, then you're able to run something like this. So the person is embedded with the PowerPoint in the background. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to our presentation that will take over for the rest of our session. Now, we just saw these slides, we just finished them up. Be more efficient and more effective with video. So I'm taking that last item there, that remediation, and I'm looking at a screenshot of a YouTube video. This is one we posted recently. It's from about a week ago. And I want to point out a few elements, the benefits of having a video on YouTube. And if you find videos on YouTube, by all means, look for these things and point these out to your students. Right there is a little CC box, closed captioning. So if the video has that option, you'll see the box, and then it will display the text on screen as the speaker is going through the video. Another feature is not as obvious. These three little dots down by the save icon or below the video will reveal a transcript option. This is something you can do with your own videos. So we know about at least 4 different learning styles. We know we have visual learners. Great, the video captures those learners. Our auditory learners, so the narration, the audio, the music that's played in that video is going to capture them. We have read and write style learners, and that's where the transcript comes in. So that allows them to read along. You could even select all this text, copy and paste it into a Google document. They could even print it out. Maybe part of your video assignment is for them to highlight and summarize for you what was in the video. It could be something you hand off to parents, to aides, that way they can follow along with the video. If they don't have time to watch, they can gloss through it quickly. Anything you'd like to do with the transcript, but now we're able to reach more learners with some of those features. And also, when a video is out there on YouTube, keep in mind there's a little gear there next to the closed captioning, and that will reveal a few more settings. Playback speed, look at that. It's usually normal, but we can slow things down or speed them up. I often talk really slow. I bet if you watch any of my other classes, I talk slow enough that you could speed me up to 1.5 and I'll sound okay. Right now, I'm going to talk faster. I know I have a lot of content in class, so I'm going to keep this video at normal speed. Students who have already watched a video once might be able to play it back a second time at a faster rate. So we can listen much faster than we can speak. Take advantage of those tips. The nuts and bolts of this class, we're going to be talking about audio. We're going to be setting the stage, whether that's a physical stage, meaning your table or desk next to you, or just browser tabs. Recording tools. What are you using out there? And distribution. How do you store the video? And with cloud computing now, it is so much easier for us to store video and then get it delivered out to our audience. I'll pause right there. If we have any questions for our group, I'll give you a moment to respond. All right, with no questions, I'm going to proceed forward. And if you like using the Zoom icons for our live viewers, give me a reaction that you're ready to move on. It can be a thumbs up, you can give me a heart, you can give me a green check. I want to make sure we're all awake out there. All right, I've got 2 thumbs up so far. Looking for one more from Peggy, who's in our group. The first, the audio. And great, Peggy went ahead and gave us a chat. I want to stress that the sound is most important. So if there's anywhere that you end up spending money, I don't encourage teachers to spend their own money, or if you have classroom supply money, spend it on your audio, especially if you know you're going into a lot of video recording. So what do I mean? How about this? A Blue brand snowball microphone. They call them snowballs because, yeah, look at that, they're round. Mine is off the stand, so I'm able to just hold it. It has a flat bottom on it anyhow. And this is about a $50 microphone. That the Blue mic is omnidirectional, so it can pick up an entire classroom if needed. I know of a teacher in around the Dayton area. He records every lesson. He puts that recording link on a Google Calendar, and students are able to access every lesson every day, whether they missed class, whether they just need to hear a piece of that back again. And he has that microphone as he moves around, it's able to capture his audio. So it depends on how you're approaching your recordings. If it's going to be you moving around, you might need a microphone that can capture more. And that's a $50 microphone. Another one that costs around $50. This is a Logitech. It's just a little headset system, or any type of microphone that goes on your head, and then you're able to have that microphone right there close to you. The nice thing about this, anytime you turn your head, it's consistent. And I want to stress consistency, because as you turn, your face and the volume of your voice is going to be greater or less depending on your angle. And that microphone actually happens to be noise canceling. So that way you're able to hear just the speaker, not all the noise around them. But look at me, I'm here teaching and I've got nothing more than my earbuds that came with my phone. And I know with Apple devices, their microphones are very good, long as you're close in proximity. And so maybe you'll not spend anything except for maybe pulling out a pair of earbuds that are shoved in a drawer somewhere. So consider your audio source. That to me is most important. We can forgive a little bit of grainy video or a poor quality image, but when it comes to sound, that is the most important. So I have a poll question I'm going to ask our live group, and in this, it's simple. Just want to know about your microphone. So I'll launch this poll. And those of you who are watching the recording, the question is, what do you use for a microphone? Do you use the built-in microphone on the device, meaning the laptop? Maybe you have a document camera or a mobile device, and that's okay. Do you have a headset microphone combo, like a little telemarketer, that it plugs into the headset jack on the device? That could be a mobile device or a computer. Or do you have a USB mic, and it could be under 20 or over 20? So those are my last two choices in my poll. And so I'm looking for 4 votes from our group. We have 4 in our live group. So hopefully everybody can see the poll. And if you don't see the poll, go ahead and you can put something in the chat. I do understand one of our participants is driving, so we're not going to expect her to answer a poll with this. So I'm going to end the poll and share the results with you all. Looks like out of the small group, 2 of you used the built-in microphone right on your device. I was doing that last week myself, and I noticed that it picked up a lot of my clicking. I could hear the mouse clicks because that was really close to the microphone. So you're able to cancel out some of that. We have one person who actually has a headset mic combo that just plugs into. So I'm going to stop sharing the poll and move forward to step 2, setting the stage. So what is the stage to you? What does that mean? Well, I have a little screen capture here of some of my space, and I'm going to leave this presentation to actually switch cameras and show you my space. So here we go. Table right next to me, I have a little space. Well, I cleaned off a little bit of space. Usually it's pretty cluttered. But if I simply was going to record myself, I want to be sure that I can elevate this laptop because the cameras are here at the top. I've seen many of people, and I'm sure you've seen them too. We're getting the up the nose angle. And it would be nice if we didn't have the ceiling fan attached to their head or spinning around and being distracting. So if you can get that at least, level with you, this one might even be a little too high, but you can use stands like this. I started out with a Busy Town game boards. I had them stacked up, just boxes of games will work, an empty cardboard box. And if you're recording at school, in your classroom during planning or before or after school, you need something that you can quickly pull out because no way is this comfortable all day typing. So you're going to want to be able to move this. Now lighting, I'm going to want to be sure I have lighting that's off to the sides. Typically, out there in the TV world, they have 3-point lighting. We're not going to get that fancy. But if you can have a primary light source, that'd be your strongest one, a secondary light source, which you see I have off here on the edge. And in the movie and TV world, they usually have a third lighting that's behind the viewer or behind the speaker, actually. That's why your anchors on TV, usually on the news, they might even have a little glow to the back of them. But if we can get 2 lights, they're not directly in front of us, we're away from the windows. That way we don't have glare on our glasses or too bright to see. And I know right now that's creating a terrible bright glare on this screen. Lights about just like you would with your hands when you're driving at 10 and 2, and get them off to the side to brighten up your appearance. The brighter you are, the more accurate the colors, and the more it would feel to the students that you're real. This is who you are and how you look every day. So maybe you're not recording on a laptop. Maybe you're not recording from that camera. You can use cameras in mobile devices. So this device, my iPad, I could use the camera, store the video. I could even edit with the free iMovie app. And I'm using nothing more than a locker stand. So some of you have already seen me use this stand in other classes, but it gives me the advantage of getting this device up high enough, has the holes in it so that the camera will reach right through one of those holes. So I get that lined up just right. And then I can start teaching as naturally as if I was sitting next to a student. I have my dry erase, I could have pen and pencil, I could have anything I'd like. I can open up a book and then I can have that book sitting and I can do a read aloud. And that also is a nice way, depending on the size of the book, it'll be able to get in here. I might have to slide side to side, but all of this is fairly easy to start with. And I will tell you, your voice is going to be picked up the best because now you're close to the microphone. Folks who put that mobile device far away from them are going to suffer with poor audio quality. And we want to be sure our audience hears us the best. So there's our lights and our camera, and the stage is set if you're needing to use actual lights instead of screen sharing. So let's talk about the screen sharing, and I'm going to switch back to a few things here. And bring back our presentation. Today I got ready, and that's also setting the stage, meaning I need to get my tabs ready so my presentation is open. If you right-click on tabs in Google Chrome, you can pin them. So that's highly important. That way you don't accidentally close them. Log into any online textbooks or workbooks that you have. Make sure you aren't wasting time scrambling or recording video of you logging in. Certainly wouldn't want to include that. And so I have all my files, all my tabs ready before I hit record. So for screen sharing, that's pretty simple. That's setting that stage is taken care of quickly. Now, the tools themselves, what are you going to record with? You have a lot to choose from out there. And before we choose our devices, I want to get started with pointing out we want to be as visual as possible in our recordings. So I'm going to have you watch this 1-minute presentation, and you're going to be judging it. So just watch it, and then you're going to be watching it a second time. You're going to compare the first and the second. So I'm going to be quiet here for a moment. And if you don't hear the audio, someone please speak up. I did a screen share with audio, so hopefully it will come through. Personalized learning. We're going to talk about 3 ways that technology makes the process much easier to personalize. Project-based learning. This starts with a driving question. It's followed by an inquiry process. The students, they organize their thoughts, and students choose how to solve the problem and present their findings. Blended learning. This weaves classroom and online instruction together. You're going to need a robust teacher website or an LMS, a learning management system, but the teacher is freer to work intensively with smaller groups. Flipped. Students receive the content at home, and it's typically by video. Then the teacher reinforces the video and asks students to apply what they learned in class. The teacher supports and extends learning. A lot could be said in a minute's time. You'll have your judgment about that example. And now we're going to move on to the next one. Personalized learning. We're going to talk about 3 ways that, I apologize, that happens with every time I play this. So let's compare that first one to this one. Same content, and we asking you in our chat. And as soon as you start seeing differences, you can put them in the chat and type out what you're seeing different. Personalized learning. Project-based, blended, and flipped. Technology makes the process much easier to personalize, and we'll focus on these 3 ways. Project-based. This starts with a driving question, and it's followed by an inquiry process. The students organize their thoughts, and students choose how to solve the problem and present their findings. Blended. This weaves classroom and online instruction together. You're going to need a robust teacher website or LMS, a learning management system. And the teacher is freer to work intensively with smaller groups. Flipped. Students receive content at home, by video typically. Then the teacher reinforces the video and asks students to apply what they learned in class. The teacher supports and extends learning. Okay, so I'm going to start reading off some of our chat items for those who watch this recording, that the text visuals reinforce the concepts in that second video. And again, from another comment, the text reflects the topic, more visually interesting and more visual with screen changing with presentation. Absolutely. So be as visual as possible. And I've done that with this presentation. So you'll notice I have small changes, just screen animations, but those small changes in color and in maybe pointing out arrows, the same thing you do at an interactive board or a dry erase board. You highlight, you underline, you circle. You add those to presentations and you give students something visual to look at, to refresh. Give them some eye candy. Personalized learning. I do not like that it always repeats the video. So let's get past it. You guys already told me. What did you notice? So I'm going to move past this slide. We're going to get into what do you use for software and hardware. Now, I know those of you who are in the live group, you have recorded. So give a shout out in our chat what you're using now for your software. And I'm speaking just quickly about 2 programs because I know these well and they're widely used. That Screencastify is one, and another one added into our chat is Loom. And I was hoping to look into Loom more. It's funny that I learned about it quite some time ago and just never got my toes wet with it because I was already happy with Screencastify. Screencastify is a Chrome extension, and you would need to have a computer. It's okay if it's a Chromebook, Mac, or PC, but you need a computer in order to use Screencastify. It can record your computer screen and it can record a picture-in-picture to have your video or just your video. We also see in our chat that to use a mobile, the Apple device for Flipgrid, to record using Flipgrid, that is a wonderful tool for recording videos. My second one I want to contribute is Zoom. You can have Zoom on a mobile device or a computer. And my tips for Zoom here, we'll have some Screencastify tips too, is that when you have the free version, the basic version of Zoom, you can only record locally to your computer. So you want to be sure that your computer can handle, it has the space for storing those recordings. And it is in the settings too that you can record the video during screen sharing. So Screencastify, it's real obvious. You're either going to include video or not, But here in Zoom, you really have to dig deep into the settings. If you want to have your own little face in the corner or on the side of the video recording, you're going to need to check that box. So that's my tip to you for Zoom. If you are recording to the cloud because you do have a license to Zoom, then you have those options there to record the active speaker. I will say this, if you're using Zoom on a mobile device and you only have the basic plan, you will not be able to record to the device. The only option that a mobile device offers with the Zoom app is to the cloud. So that means you'd have to have the licensed version. I had shown you my handy dandy locker stand or locker shelf, and you can use your mobile devices, be it a phone or an iPad, an Android tablet or phone. And I do want to point something out I think gets overlooked a lot. The mobile version of Google Classroom has the feature where you can just pick a photo, or you could use the camera. And I've kind of gotten burned with this one. So personally, I would just use the mobile device camera. I would record, then I would go to the Google Classroom mobile app and pick photo. And that means it would let me pick the videos from my camera roll. But if you're brave and you know, oh gee, it's just going to be a photo, I'm going to go to the Classroom app, start that activity or that materials file. I click use camera, then it's going to prompt me, would you like access to the camera? Yeah. When Classroom would also like access to the microphone. Sure. And that way I can record and it loads it right into my Google Classroom. Where I got burned is that it didn't make it. And then it wasn't stored anywhere on my local device. So be careful with launching directly off to Classroom. That's why I prefer to record locally on that mobile device. Then I make the assignment and go attach it by picking from my photo roll. Next up, document camera. All right, I want to hear those of you in our live group, put it in the chat, or you can give me a reactions on your screen if you have a document camera at your disposal. And even if you want to unmute and just say, yes, you do, or no, you don't. Okay. Ooh, so Peggy was given one to use this year. And Melissa does not have a document camera. That's a crime right there to me. And Dawn does not, but she uses her phone. So I really think the modern day teacher needs a document camera. Any subject, anywhere, goodness, this is such a useful device. And if you find yourself being gifted some random amount of money, I have a screen capture there of the Ziggy HD Plus. So that document camera, in about a year ago, it was $99 if you could get one. They became a hot commodity because you could also use it as a webcam, as I did when I was showing you setting my stage, because the arm moves. And then, of course, it's valuable in the classroom with synchronous learning when you have kids live. If you have any document, a book, objects to manipulate that you don't want to pass around, or it's too hard to get everybody close. And that way a document camera can be used with the PC or the Mac. And then you're going to use Screencastify, or you're going to use Zoom, and you're going to use screen sharing or capture whatever that document camera is showing you. So hopefully those of you who don't have document cameras, if it's something you'd like, it certainly is a useful tool and can be used for recording your videos. So that was a little bit about the software and the hardware part of it and storage. Okay, where's this all going? And luckily with Screencastify, your videos are stored right into your Google Drive. Now, this is not a class about Screencastify. If you've never used Screencastify and you want to after hearing a little bit more about it, Then we do have a recording with our 60 minutes or less. Our class lists, we do have a Screencastify class. And I want to point out this tip to you. If you are a Screencastify user already, that if you go into your options, scroll to the bottom in the advanced section, there is a quality versus file size. That's really important because I did hear about students who they got the videos, the teachers recorded them. They were even using the 5-minute limit with the free account. They still couldn't stream. They couldn't get that video delivered. And I shouldn't use the word stream because when you store your videos in Google Drive, you are not streaming them to your audience. They're going to have to wait until that entire video is loaded, and then they are going to get it delivered in one large package. So if you can change that default quality from medium down to something lower, and you won't sacrifice quality in the details of your video, knock it down a little lower, because sending videos through Google Classroom or a straight link right out of your Google Drive means that they need to get that file packet all in one load. So it's important that it's easier for them. I'm a big proponent for YouTube videos. You simply can set up a YouTube channel with your school account. And I know there are some schools that don't care to use YouTube, but it's something you should check on with your own school district. What I want to point out here is this is just a sample of video being uploaded. So let's say you used Zoom. You could even use Screencastify. It's just that you decided, hey, I don't want it to be stored in Drive. I want to take advantage of streaming, which means YouTube will deliver the little bits of this video at a time, and so they can start watching as soon as a portion of the video is loaded. And what I wanted to point out here is when you're uploading, it often gets overlooked, but you can click on Show More, and what you're able to reveal then are the settings for the closed captioning. So I pointed those out when I talked about remediation, capturing students. We want to make sure that we choose a caption certification. Your content has never aired on public television before. I'm pretty certain of that. And then this is what helps trigger the closed captioning and the transcription, because we have chosen the English language. Also, with YouTube settings, we want to scroll even farther down in that Show More section. And I encourage teachers to just turn off their comments. We don't need students commenting. Also, do we really care how many viewers like and dislike our videos? And so if it's something just for your classroom and it's listed as it's actually unlisted, meaning the public can't view your video unless they have your exact link, then this is fine. You're not looking for traffic. You're not trying to get advertisement, and you're not trying to monetize. Now, with monetizing mentioned, Google did something in the fall last school year. So around November 2020, they have announced that they will now be placing ads on videos. And I came across this first with a support video from one of our vendors, and it surprised me, and they pointed me to the support page saying, hey, Google and YouTube, they announced this. So one way to be sure that ads and anything additional, things that you aren't intending the students to be directed to or to watch, is to put your YouTube videos inside a Google Slides presentation. And that will ensure that no ads will be added to your YouTube videos. So I'm going to stop right there. Whew, I know I've been talking a lot. I want to check with our audience who's live and ask you all. If you have a question, just unmute your mic or type it in the chat. And if you feel like you're good to go, give me some type of reaction or type it in the chat if you feel like you can continue. Okay, so So far, so good. Thank you. You all, well, and I know one is driving, so I'm not going to expect her to give her that chat or comment. Let's say you got the video. Boy, you did all that work. You set the stage. You knew what you were recording. You did it. It's stored. It's either in your drive or it's on the cloud, and it's in YouTube and it's streamable. And you're ready to do something with it. Give the kids the link in Google Classroom. Watch the video. Hope you watch it. I don't know if you ever will. We really don't want to leave it there. So to come full circle, we want to be a little interactive and have an intent with using our videos. So I'm looking here at Tell and Show. And this is just another quick steal from the Bold School book that I mentioned. So your viewer, the students, initially tells you what they think of the answer to a question, maybe, or the video is going to be his opinion regarding an issue or his thoughts based on a prompt. So they give that to you first. So that's the tell and show approach. Or we have the show and tell, which is something we're a little bit more familiar with, where they watch the video and then they tell you their reflections, their response to questions, either in writing. It could be through multimedia, throughout the video, or at the video's conclusion. So let's talk about some examples of what I'm meaning with show and tell. So a Google form. I'm going to pop open this example here to show you all quickly. A straightforward Google form. You just insert a video. And if you've never done that before, our next Lunch and Learn is with Shelley, and she has a Google Forms deep dive, and I'm sure she'll cover things like this in it. So here's the form students would see. They put in their email. I'm just putting in something to appease that required question. They watch the video, it stays embedded, personal, and then they say, yep, I understand it. They can go next. And you'll get all your responses in a spreadsheet. And if you have it triggered to collect their email, then you have that even without asking that one question like I did. And then they respond. You check the spreadsheet for all the responses. That's one example. And that's approaching it like you want them to get the video. You are using to give, you are providing a lecture through that video, and then they respond. You can also use a Google form with this approach. Let's say it's an assessment. So it's formative. We're going to give them time to take this over and over if they like. So I ask a question, just text-based. Maybe it has a diagram. And then after they answer the question, if it's correct, green check, they move on. If it is not correct, the red X, then that's going to reroute them. A Google form can be routed so that it takes them to a different section. They watch the video, and then it routes them back to question one to try again. Now, is this a 100% guarantee that they've watched the video? No, it is not. Do you have students who will just click every multiple choice until they get through the path? Possibly. And we can never stop those students who take the extra effort to not learn something, because they're out there. We do what we can with our materials and our tools. So that is an example using a form. And Pear Deck. You could just embed a video in a Google Slides file and ask questions on the next slide. That's fine. You can deliver that in Google Classroom, make a copy for every kiddo. But that does mean you have to go inside each Google Slides file to check their answers. They're not going to be collected in one stationary place. Pear Deck takes that slides concept and it just steps it up a notch. So looking at this example, we see a presentation, and I'm going to skip how I'm feeling. And I happened to look at this one earlier today. And this is the tip I want to give to you. If you're a Pear Deck user, I don't know if you've ever put videos into your presentation. So if you haven't before and now you're going to, I want you to see what happens. So first off, this was a Google Slides presentation with the video right there on the slide. Now that I'm delivering this through Pear Deck, it doesn't look like it's a video anymore. We don't see that big triangle in a circle, that play icon. So I want to warn you guys, I added text here that explains, hey, click the picture to watch the video. And I want to show you one more thing that happens because of this being a Pear Deck student-driven activity. The video opens in another tab, personal. So that would cause students to have to jump back. So I would not encourage this for the youngest group, for that audience. This definitely is okay for your upper level kids. But a student-paced activity in Pear Deck involving video is going to now involve multiple tabs. Now, I've watched the video. I see down here at the bottom with Pear Deck, I now need to do my response. And for Pear Deck, it's great that as a teacher, I'm going to have a nice little dashboard that shows me all those students and how they responded. So student-paced activity, that's what I have triggered for that Pear Deck activity. And if you've never used Pear Deck and you say, okay, now I think this might interest me, then we do have a recording for participating with Pear Deck. So check that out on our 60 Minutes or Less website too. Now, Edpuzzle, we don't have a class already recorded for that. Shelley somehow ditched that recording. So check with her. She'd always support you and help you out. And I'm going to this example for Edpuzzle. We have the video and I'm able to play. There's my familiar looking play icon. And what happens across the bottom, personalized learning, is that we have these little droplets that are pointing to points in the video where I need to respond. So this participant has already responded. I'm actually in as the teacher, and then I can continue. Blended. And I could even jump ahead here to each, so I can rewatch these too. Now I'm going to leave this Edpuzzle example as a student, and I want to point out the teacher features. And again, this is all with the free version of Edpuzzle. You can turn on where you can prevent them from skipping, and you can turn on closed captioning. So we're getting back some of that special feature that we can get with YouTube. And I can post and sync this with Google Classroom. Just be sure that if you've already posted Edpuzzle activities to Google Classroom, that you have all the students enrolled, or if they've enrolled after the activity's been posted, come back to Edpuzzle and be sure that you sync your Google Classroom roster. And we can see now a little bit of evidence, sorry about that, evidence that says, hey, who has watched? Now I've cropped this in pretty close. You can't see the 3 names for the students, but at the bottom, one student got 77 out of 100, and the second student completed it, but I haven't graded it yet. So if you have essays and open response, then you need to intervene and actually grade, but you could have all multiple choices. And the top student in that list has never watched it and has no grade yet. So you have a dashboard that lets you feel a little bit more comfortable, that know that the students have more likely watched your videos. So I want to ask you if you have any questions out there or have any comments, feedback, anything to share. I'm going to stop our recording here, and then we're going to kind of open up the mic to our participants who are live.